Advice you'll often hear in the self-help or healing space is to love yourself. But what does that actually mean? If you're like me, you probably think that it means something like giving yourself a bubble bath and having some chocolate and some roses and going, mmm. Sorry, that was really funny. But it doesn't actually mean that, or at least it doesn't actually mean that entirely. If that is what you need, then by all means go and do it. But loving yourself most days and most of the time isn't all about that. And I was shocked when I realized that it wasn't, because it's actually really obvious what self-love is. So stay tuned, because in this video, I'll give you a broad look at what self-love is and how you can find some more ways to love yourself. Hello, I'm Lewis, and I make videos on codependency, attachment theory, and all sorts of personal development topics. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then please hit like and subscribe. Self-love, loving yourself, is meeting your own needs. That's it. That's all it is. Loving yourself is taking care of yourself. Because think about it. How would you take care of a child? How would you love a child? You don't sing it a love song or shower it with flowers, or if you do, that's not the whole thing that you do. You take care of a child, you love a child, by looking after its needs. And that's often a very unglamorous thing to do. You give it healthy food, you wipe its bum, you put it to bed on time, you soothe it and help it if it's feeling emotional, you teach it and encourage it. And eventually you allow it to learn and grow and become capable of looking after its needs all by itself. And you are that child. You're an adult now, but you're still that child. And it's your responsibility to take care of those needs and look after those needs for yourself. And often in the healing space, you'll hear this called reparenting. If you don't love yourself or don't love some part of yourself, then this was a deficit in the way that you were raised. No matter how good your parents are, something happened. It may not have even been them, but something happened where you didn't get enough love for that part of yourself. And now it's your responsibility to fill that up. So reparenting is about identifying those needs that you had when you were younger that didn't get enough love and recognition and learning to give that to yourself today. And there's often two ways that people struggle with this. The first is that if you weren't given it as a child, it's really hard to know what it is you're actually supposed to be giving yourself, and even if you can identify it, how you're supposed to give it to yourself. And the second is that you've got a lifetime of conditioning going against you, changing and actually trying to give yourself that need, which can be really difficult to overcome. So let's look at how you can start overcoming these two difficulties. So firstly, how can you identify and start dealing with needs that you didn't even know that you had? Well, there's two places you can look. You can look at the world, or you can look at yourself. Now, you are your best source of truth. All the answers that you need, everything you ever need, is really within yourself. Because nobody knows more what it is like to be you than you do. And nobody is as close to or cares about or can really actually do as much for your needs as you. So, go and look at external lists of needs that you might need. That can be a really helpful starting place. But I'd suggest that once you've done that, or if you can't be bothered to do that, just start paying attention to yourself and start thinking, where am I suffering in my life? And it's helpful to keep this question in your mind for a few days, weeks, or even months, and start really noticing and maybe even jotting down the different areas that you notice. Or if that is way too much work, honestly, get a bit of paper or your phone and just write down the first 5 things that come to mind. So here's an example of that. I've noticed that I have a pain in my chest. Okay, so you found the suffering. What's the need that's not being met? I need to look after my body. Okay, great. And can you articulate that in a few more ways? I need to look after my health. I need to take care of myself. And I need to listen to my body. And take a moment to just notice what feelings come up when you're articulating the needs for yourself that you're not meeting, and just be with them for a second. And let any of them be. They might be a lot of shame and a lot of guilt or anger, because these are your guide to feeling better. And write them down if you also find that helpful. I feel ashamed that I don't look after my body. I feel like a loser. And I'm angry that I haven't taken care of myself. And I'm really terrified that this ache in my chest is going to be something a lot more serious. And then finally, write down what you'd like to do. Not even what you think you will do. I'm not saying you even have to do it. Just write down what in an ideal world you would have happen. Ideally, I'm going to call the GP tomorrow. I'm going to book an appointment and they're going to start looking at my chest. And that's it. Then you can pat yourself on the back because you just spent time being with your needs. I learned recently that you just can't overdo praising yourself, so really give yourself a good pat on the back. Like, imagine how you would want to really praise a child if they did something good. Be like, yeah! Do that, but for yourself. It's really good, actually. And then the second part to this broader exercise is identifying those beliefs that held you back. So I'll use the same example. I've got a pain in my chest and I haven't gotten it checked out. Ask yourself why. What's been stopping you? And then let come up what comes up. What? I don't want to. I don't have time. I don't want to spend money on it. I've got so many other things to do that will get delayed if I don't. And I don't want to find out that it's actually something serious because then I'll have to do something about it. And now you can look at some of the common themes connecting these beliefs. So I've got a pain in my chest and I haven't gotten it checked out because I'm too busy, I'm worried about the money, and I'm scared of dying. And now, and here's the bit of a tricky part, try and change these into the beliefs because these will actually be the sentences that operate subconsciously in your mind. So this is the example. I'm too busy becomes my life and my work are much more important than my health. I'm worried about money becomes I'm not worth spending money on and I need to save my money on spend it on other things. I'm scared it could be serious or I'm dying becomes I won't face the truth even if it's going to kill me. And notice again any feelings that come up when you are writing down or articulating these beliefs. And feel free to write those down as well. I really, really want to emphasize that none of these thoughts, feelings, beliefs, or anything else are wrong. I really don't. This is totally normal and human, and I based this example that I just gave you actually off of something that happened to me quite recently. Because all these beliefs that you have that, for whatever reason, in their current shape, prevent you from looking after yourself, were actually useful in keeping you alive as you were growing up and all the way up until your life, until today, or very recently, when they've stopped serving you. So I'm not suggesting that you throw them away immediately, but as you do this exercise, notice whether or not these beliefs are serving you in the present, or if they're actually holding you back now, and they need to evolve and change. And so now you have a list of beliefs that are holding you back. What an extremely powerful thing to have. And if you're feeling like an overachiever, then there's one more thing you can do. You can try and investigate where these beliefs came from. So I sat down the other day and I made a bit of a family tree. I divided my family into its two parts, my mum's side, my dad's side, and I went through the beliefs that I'd gotten from both those sides of the family and also from my parents themselves. And then I also did that for other important influences within my life, especially as I was growing up. Becoming an adult means learning to take care of your needs and learning to take responsibility for your life. And sometimes that means going back and treating yourself like you're a child. Recently, I watched a YouTube video on how to wipe your bottom and how to brush your teeth because I actually wanted to check now, as a conscious adult, if there was anything that I'd been taught about how to wipe my bum and how to clean my teeth that weren't sort of optimal. And I wanted to know, I wanted to check. Because how do you know that the way your parents taught you to brush your teeth and wipe your ass is the most healthy way? So butt wiping jokes aside, learning to take care of your needs is self-love. Because your needs are what keep you alive and keep you well. As a final reminder, I want to say that you're going to be imperfect as you're doing this, just as your parents and whatever your holding environment was when you grew up were also imperfect. But that's okay. There's nothing to feel ashamed about or to start hating people about. Just being with yourself and wanting the best for yourself and wanting to take care of yourself is enough. And you will get there. And believe me, when you start reparenting and you start giving yourself all this love and meeting your needs, your life just improves so much to the point that you couldn't even have believed before you started. And nothing feels better than having this warm, solid feeling of trust in yourself and knowing that things are going to be all right because you have your own back. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please leave a like and subscribe. I wish you all the best on your healing journey, and I will see you again very soon.